Hi, everyone. Welcome to the National Marine Sanctuary's 5th annual Get Near Sanctuary Days. My name is Nathan Shapiro, and I'm a current intern with the Office of National Marine Sanctuaries at the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary. My work experience here includes several projects spanning from deep sea coral analysis to our Soundscape Sea Sketch project. Just to give you a little bit of background information about myself, I'm a current student at California State University Channel Islands, and I am majoring in environmental technology. Our Get Near Sanctuary celebration is held annually in August across the National Marine Sanctuary system. Throughout this presentation, viewers will be able to ask questions and provide comments in the chat box below. Please feel free to ask questions as you please, and we will do our best to go through and answer them. Without further ado, enjoy the presentation. NOAA's National Marine Sanctuary System consists of 14 marine protected areas that encompass more than 600,000 square miles of marine and Great Lake waters, from Washington State to the Florida Keys, and from Lake Huron to the American Samoa. In fact, did you know that the majority of the waters within NOAA's National Marine Sanctuaries are open to compatible and responsible recreational activities, such as kayaking, snorkeling, recreational fishing, scuba diving, as well as sustainable tourism and stewardship opportunities. These activities generate considerable benefits for local economies all around the U.S. Today, we are coming to you live from the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary, located in beautiful Southern California. Our team is stoked to be able to dive in with our guest, Eva Pagaling, who is a member of the San Ynez band of Samala Chumash Indians. She is one of the leaders of her generation, and as an outspoken member of the community, her goal is to continue to educate others about the significance and importance of native culture, and more importantly, the Tomol Crossing. Historically, women were not allowed to be paddlers, but as a new generation turned, it was widely accepted that women were able to participate in the crossing. Within this tight-knit community, the tradition of the Tomol Crossing was revitalized in 2001 with Eva's father, Elder Reggie Pagaling, and from there, this tradition has continued to this day. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we appreciate your time with us. You can check out the amazing stories here in the link posted in the chat. These include Homecoming, Journey to Lamu, and Eva's personal essay titled Dark Water Journey. And just to remind viewers, throughout this presentation, you will be able to provide questions and comments in the chat box below. Please feel free to ask questions as you please, and we'll do our best to go through and answer them. Now, for our first activity, we're going to move into a Q&A session where viewers will be able to learn about the Tomol Crossing, as well as the Chumash culture. So Eva, it's awesome to have you on with us today. And to dive in to the questions, our first question is, how do you believe the revitalization of this Tomol Crossing has affected your tribe, particularly the younger generation?
I believe it's had a really positive effect on tribal members. And when I say tribal members, I mean the Chumash community at large, which is something that I really want to discuss because there are a lot of us and we're all along the coast of California here, well, Central California. And that's something that doesn't happen for very many reasons. This revitalization has really unified our people and brought us together on the island, which is where we all come from. In our creation story, we come from the island, and we made our way over to the mainland. And historically, you know, a lot of people know that because of the cultural genocide that we faced and the mission systems, we were broken up after that. So this Tomol Crossing has, like I said, really been a place where we can come together. And not only that, like I said, come together on a place where all of us are from. And that's been one of the most important things to me, especially coming from the younger generation, because we didn't all get to grow up together since we all have different lives and we're walking in two worlds. And I think that that's been the most positive effect that I've seen, and something that I'm really grateful for.
That is awesome. So our next question is, how are tamols made?
So tamols are made with redwood plank canoe, or it's a redwood plank canoe. So we sew redwood planks together with epoxy and tar. Traditionally, it was pine pitch and tar, and today we use different adhesives, stronger ones, whatever is available to us, because that's sort of what we do. You know, as we continue to change with the times, we use anything that we can, and it's sewn together with, let me see, cordage, which is made from red milkweed, which is definitely one of the strongest cordages you could have on the Central Coast, and yeah, every captain who builds their tamol also puts abalone inlay in their tamol on the ears of the tamol. So each captain has a different name for their tamol as well. And so their abalone inlay in their tamol makes it specifically theirs. Yeah, it's definitely a group effort. And the first tamol that was brought back in 2001 was called Elliot Woon, which means swordfish. And, you know, kind of going back to my other question, that's what really brought the community together. And we've had, let's see, I think like 5 or 6 more tamols that were made since then. And we've tried to bring each of them out to the island, and that's, you know, kind of the goal, at least for me personally, is to be able to have as many tamols as we can out there, as long as safety measures allow. So as of right now, it's only been, I think, 1, 2, 3 that have made it out there, but we have a lot more that have been made from different community members. And yeah, that's something that I'm really looking forward to in the future, is to having more tamols out there, because more people have been building them and they all deserve to be out on the water with us.
Yes, and definitely. So in your eyes, how has the spirit and energy of the tribe been reinvigorated since your father, Reggie, and other Chumash community members brought the crossing back in 2001?
I think it's really given our tribe a sense of belonging. After having been so lost, you know, like I said, because we were taken off of our island, taken from our homeland, and separated, that really created a disconnect, not just from our culture, but from each other. And yeah, just giving us a place to come together and a place to teach and learn and pass on all of the knowledge that everyone's been gathering from their different areas along the coast, and for families to be able to grow up together. I think that's been a huge sense of, like I said, belonging and pride, and a place where we can feel like we're safely sharing knowledge with each other.
So with that being said, how has this event increased the interest in the younger generation of tribal members?
So this event has increased the interest in younger tribal members. I would say from being on the island every year, and also watching like our fathers and our uncles and other aunties set up a space for us to come in to those places, that has really, they set the example for us. So that has allowed a lot of different younger generation, like people from the younger generation, to step into that place and to not be afraid, and to, you know, come as you are, which is really important because, again, like coming from such different areas and different upbringings, I think it really inspired the younger generation and motivated them to just show up and be there, be ready, be humble. That's really helped us really sink in traditions and protocols when it comes to being around our canoe, which were not spoken about, talked about for hundreds of years. And yeah, that's something I believe is really special and has helped the younger generation understand how to not only take their place, but create a space for the generations that are coming after them.
Yeah, and that's really important for the future of the tribe, is to have younger people and younger generations learn the stories and learn the traditions and culture of what the tribe does, and how you're able to continue it for future generations. So the next question is, so particular to the Tomol Crossing. So I know that you have done the Tomol Crossing previously. So what is the hardest part of making the journey, and what kind of mental preparedness goes into such a long crossing?
Truthfully, I think the hardest part for us as a Tamil family is strangely getting sleep the night before. I think for the captains, because they carry more of the responsibility of planning and stuff, I think planning for safety is the hardest part, because we're paddling out in open ocean and we don't want to have any accidents, and we have thankfully never had, you know, an accident where anyone got hurt or anything. I think that's probably a really challenging part for the captains, but for like us as a whole, as captains and paddlers, really trying to get sleep the night before has been really difficult. And then waking up and being ready to go. We end up, you know, all pulling through just fine, but honestly, that can really throw you off mentally, and especially if you're part of the first crew, which paddles for the longest, which is known as the dark water crew. That can be really, really, really hard. And I know because I've done that. I didn't sleep, and then I hopped in the Tomol for 4 hours, and it was really testing. It tests your spirit, and it tests your physical abilities. It tests everything that you have in and outside of you to be able to pull water for 4 hours in the dark after not getting sleep. You know, that's just speaking from my own personal experience. I'm sure other paddlers and captains have other things that may have been harder for them, but from what I've seen and from what I've experienced, that's been the hardest thing.
And do you feel that now that you've done this journey, do you feel a better connection to the culture and the tribal members around you?
Yes, absolutely. Like I've been saying, for us to be able to have a place to not only revitalize this tradition, but continue to pass on different aspects of our traditions, you know, whether that's singing, you know, we definitely bring different materials to the island so we can make stuff together, and to have the kids be able to be in a place where they can get to know each other and grow up together. That doesn't happen, you know, because we don't really have you know, a village. Well, Wishtoyo Village is definitely a place where we can do that as well. You know, but that just, they barely built that, I think just a couple of, what was that, decades ago? Yeah, so, gosh, sorry, my mind is slipping me. But yeah, there are very few places where we can all come together and grow up together. And that's been really, really important.
Yeah, so I know historically women were not allowed to participate in the crossing. So how important is it for you and the rest of the tribe to be able to have female participation?
That's extremely important, and also somewhat debatable, because we do have stories of daughters of chiefs who have had their own tomols. Now, I don't believe we have stories of women that are paddling in tomols with men for the purpose of the crossing, but we do have stories, like I said, of chiefs' daughters who have their own tomols and are able to gather and fish near the coastline. You know, so I've, you know, not really been one way or the other when people ask if, you know, how do you feel knowing that it's historically not okay for women to paddle. I do debate that a little bit, but you know, in my upbringing, my father has been so kind and humble about allowing me and my older sister to be there with him for every crossing possible. And yeah, it's just, honestly, I feel very privileged in the sense that I've never been met with, you know, contempt with that, and no one has stopped us from being there. You know, if there were voices in the background telling us that we shouldn't be there, I never paid any attention to them. Yeah, everyone has been generally very supportive of women being there, especially because we've had aunties that were standing in those places that allowed for us to take up that space. Yeah, Roberta Cordero was really, her place in building the first Tomol was vital for women to be able to stand in that circle. And I definitely owe a lot of, you know, who I am and, you know, today to her taking that place. So, yeah. And, you know, since women have been standing in that circle from the first Tomol that was built back in 2000, or first crossing back in 2001, women have always felt welcome, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's incredibly important that your tribe and your culture is 100% accepting that women are able to participate in the crossing. And especially nowadays, that's something that daughters of and younger generations can look up to. And as I'm sure, as you know, as a role model, you're able to inspire generations to come. So that wraps up our Q&A session for today. And next up, we're going to show one of the videos that perfectly describes the Tomol Crossing. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the Homecoming Journey to Lamu video.
Shimawe Shatipa Shimawe Shimawe Shatipa Shimawe Shimawe Shatipa Shimawe Shimawe Shatipa Shimawe.
The Chumash people were on Limu, a beautiful island, and really provided very well for the people. Kakanumawa created this rainbow bridge. Kakanumawa told the people, you know, don't be scared, just don't look down. But of course, some people did look down, and some of them fell into the ocean, drowning and calling out for Kakanumawa to save them. He took pity on them and turned them into dolphins.
Water's life. Life is water. You know, we all have a balance in it. It is part of whom we are. It is part of our relationship with all the ocean creatures as well as those that fly. It's an annual trek in which we recognize our former villages that are out there and the journeys that our people and my tribal people learned how to develop their maritime skills, and we continue to do that now.
The crossing, it means a lot of different things to different people. It's partly about reclaiming our maritime culture, and it's very important because we lost it for so long.
We were still a people, but it was hard for us to find ways to express that.
And this is something that we do as a community, and we do it for our community and for the ancestors, and we paddle out to Santa Cruz Island.
On the right side, Eva.
Paddles
Slow
up.
and slow.
On the right.
We are very closely tied to the ocean. I personally feel like I get strength, calmness, serenity, healing from the ocean.
At the time we begin our journey, over on the islands, we have people who have started a sacred fire. And on that fire, they're praying for us to be safe going across. We have a saying among canoe families that every paddle is a prayer. So as we go through the dark water, we're praying the whole time. And there's nothing I can put into words that would really fully describe it, other than that this part of the spiritual journey, this is where we can go ahead and connect with our spirit, completing the cycle.
One of the things that my stepmom taught me is that if you ever really want to have a heart-to-heart with someone, have a conversation with them in the dark. And being out in dark water is like having a heart-to-heart with yourself, because there is nothing else around. When we're first out there initially, like that's your time to be with your ancestors and to resolve any issues that may be going on, like any negative thoughts that come up. I use that as my pull. I use that to pull and let it go in the water, and that's how the water has been so healing for all of us, especially in dark water. The dark water crew knows that if they're paddling, then there is something weighing them down that they have to let go of. And spiritually, that's your time to do that.
It's so dark, you can't see 10, 20 feet in front of the Tomol. So you have to be in rhythm with the paddler in front of you, the whole team, all 6 paddlers.
The first crew has to paddle until it gets light, because we can't make a crew change until it gets light. And it's a little bit tricky, so it takes some help.
Once we change to the final crew, we'll be heading into Limu and into the village of Swahil. And then that's where our families are waiting for us there. And all night, they're praying for us to have a safe journey. Because when it comes down to it, we want to go from point A to point B safely. We're grateful to the vessel here, the Channel Islands Sanctuary, and everybody that has helped us. And that was all due to the partnership together with the Chumash peoples at that time. It started with the Chumash Maritime Association.
I think it's very important for fragile ecosystems everywhere, and ours is one of them, to be protected. And so I'm grateful for the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary. Protecting our marine resources and ecosystems is something that we've done for millennia, and something that we think is obviously very important.
That partnership is exactly what the word is. It's a partnership that has happened between the two entities to create everything that's going on right now, and they rely upon each other. We're just grateful that we've been able to be together on this journey, and it's a journey for both of us.
The very first time I paddled, I just had this incredible connection with the ocean, the air, the sunlight, the breeze, the sound that the waves made lapping against the side of the Tomol. It felt like coming home. For many people, it's a return to where many of our ancestors came from. We are not a relic of the past. We continue to exist now. Our culture, it continues to exist, and that this is not a reenactment of a crossing. This is a crossing. This is not a replica of a Tomol. It is a Tomol. We are not just descendants of Chumash people. We are Chumash people. And I think there's a tendency of the non-native community to think of us in terms of having existed in the past. Our culture is alive. It's continuing, it's growing, it's thriving. And one of the things that we do to make sure that it does continue and that it does thrive are things like the Tomol Crossing. But it's the dozens of people who are out on the island who are spiritually making this crossing with us. And we are making it for them and all the ancestors who we are in communion with when we do this.
That was Homecoming, Journey to Lemieux. We will include the full link in the chat box if viewers would like to watch the full video. Now, one of the biggest takeaways that was mentioned in the video can be summed up in this quote, provided by tribal member Tony Codero. It reads, "We are not a relic of the past. We continue to exist now. Our culture, it continues to exist." And that is not a reenactment of the crossing. This is a crossing. This is not a replica of the Tomol. This is a Tomol. We are not just descendants of Chumash people. We are Chumash people. Our culture is alive, it's continuing, it's growing, and it's thriving, end quote. Thank you, Eva, for being able to give this presentation. For more information about Eva and the incredible journey of the Tomol, here are 2 links that provide more details and testimony of the crossing. There's also information in these 2 links about the culture and history of the Chumash people. While the Get Near Sanctuary events are being held virtually this year in response to COVID-19, the marine sanctuaries have remained open for responsible use in accordance with CDC guidelines and local regulations. For more information on the response from NOAA's Office of National Marine Sanctuaries, you can find it at sanctuaries.noaa.gov/coronavirus. If you do get the chance to experience a national marine sanctuary, we would like you to please share your photos on social media using the hashtag #ILoveMySanctuary and hashtag #RecreateResponsibly. And as a side note, for all of our viewers, we have a special gift for you. You have just earned your virtual National Marine Sanctuary badge. You can go to the Park Pass app to download it. We will also put this link in the chat box below. Please join us at the top of the hour for our next sanctuary adventure and join us all weekend long to hear about the great things you can do across all of our national marine sanctuaries.
Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate this platform that you're making available to us to be able to talk about these things that are really important to everyone.
Yes. All right, thank you everyone, and have a great rest of your day.